Yeah, welcome all you guys. Without investing in time, I'll start the session. I hope my screen is visible to all. Guys, today we are going to discuss about the project cost budgeting and management. My name is Saurabh Gupta, as Mehul described me. I have an experience of almost 10 years and I have managed almost more than 5 projects in L&T and Jindal Limited. So why this cost budgeting and why this cost control management system is important? So that we are going to discuss, and I believe that at the end of the session you guys will be having a good knowledge of what kind of roles you will be getting in the project cost control. So we'll start our discussion with the definition of the construction project. What is this project meaning? What is the meaning of project? What is the construction industry? And who are the main people those will be participating in these construction projects? And in that particular team, what will be the role of a cost controller? Next, we will be discussing about the cost management. So the entire cost cycle, starting from preparation of the cost budget, then during the monitoring and controlling phase, and up to the change management. So we will be understanding how this entire structure of cost management looks like. Then we will little bit deep dive into cost budget development process, how to prepare a cost budget, and then how with the help of cost estimation techniques these budgets will be prepared, what sort of different techniques are there, and what is the most prevalent technique in cost estimation. And lastly, we will be discussing about how to control the cost, what are the different parameters like earned value management and different techniques by which we can make sure that our project is getting completed within the cost whatsoever we have budgeted. So guys, if you are having any doubt in between, I'm sure that a lot of people, those who are participating in today's workshop, they are the working professionals or either looking for job. So I believe that you all guys are having some sort of experience, or even if you are a fresher, then this course, this class is for everyone. So just feel free to drop any question whatsoever is coming in your mind straightforward, so that at the end of the session we can discuss on those parts. So first of all, let's discuss about the construction project and role of cost engineer. All right. So I always start the session with the definition of the project, because we have to understand that if we are working in any industry, so that industry may have projects. So in our construction industry, that comprises of the project. So now one construction company, you can name it like L&T, Tata, Shapurji, Megha, or any builder like DLF, Godrej, or Lodha builders. So they will be working on the projects only. So a project is basically a temporary endeavor to create a unique product or to provide any unique service. So let's say that if you are doing any project, so what's the definition of this project is that it is providing a unique product. So every project is unique. You may be thinking that all the building projects may be similar, but it's not like that. Every project is having its own specification. If the project is of 100-story building, but even that, specifications will be different, land will be different. So that is why each project is a unique project. And this definition has been prescribed in generalization by the PMI body. PMI is Project Management Institute. It's an American body that has defined the definition of the project. So now from there, we know that the projects which are related to the construction industry are construction projects. So on a broader level, we can segregate the construction projects into two domains. It's not like that only two domains are there. There are multiple domains, but we can generally divide our construction projects into two domains. These domains are, one is building domain. So we know that a lot of building projects are coming. Our new parliament is getting constructed by the Tata projects. That's one of the building projects. Recently, we had the Statue of Unity. That's sort of a building project only. And Burj Khalifa, and that is the highest tower in the world. Similarly, other buildings are getting constructed. So those all are the building projects. A lot of builders like Shobha Builder, DLF, Mahindra Lifespace, Godrej, they are working in these kind of domains. Second domain is infrastructure domain. So infrastructure, now India is a developing nation. Now it is India's current GDP is $3.3 trillion. And as per the E&Y, that's a consulting group worldwide. So as per the E&Y report, India is expected to get its GDP $26 trillion by 2047. So in next 25 years, our GDP will be $26 trillion. So that is why to have such kind of GDP, India requires a lot of infrastructure projects. These infrastructure projects boost up the transportation, supply chain management, operations, and reduce the cost of all the other industries. So this will include like road projects, highways, bridges will be required. A lot of railway projects are coming in India. All the railways are getting, revamped. Like Vande Bharat, the train, that speed has been increased due to the, uh, revamping of the infrastructure of the railway. Metro projects are coming to the tier 1 cities from the metro cities. Similarly, now each state capital is getting airport, and where like Delhi or Mumbai or Bangalore, where the capacity has already been overloaded, another project of airports are coming. So this is the infrastructure that will be required for India to acquire that sort of growth to become a developed nation in next few years. So a lot of projects will be coming. Similarly, India is having an eye to provide water to each house. So a lot of water projects, uh, clean water from the river to the each house, and waste water from each house to the sewage treatment plants. A lot of water projects are coming in India. So you can emphasize that approximately as per the National Infrastructure Pipeline, that is a government website, almost 8,000 projects are going on. Almost 8,000. And the cost of these projects are in lakh crores. How many zeros are there? You can estimate. Even yesterday, I was studying a report that has been published by the government only, that due to the delay in the completion of the projects, India has lost 4 to 5 lakh crore rupees due to delay in these projects. So that is why you can understand how much important is this cost part in each project, which will be discussed in the later part. Now we have understood about the project, what are the projects in the construction industry. Now, just briefly, let's go through the project life cycle. So a project starts with the initiation phase. So what happens? A lot of construction companies, they bid for the project. Let's say L&T, Tata, Shapurji, and one flyover or any project that has been put as a tender by the government. So these construction companies will be bidding. So in this initiation phase, government will be launching the project, and these construction companies will be awarded with that project through the bidding process. Now, once a construction company has got that project during the bidding phase, they will start doing the planning. So they will be planning that in what amount of time we will be completing the project that has been mentioned in the contract, and how they can get the profit from the cost expenditure. So they will be planning the cost, that what sort of cost they will be spending. So that they will be doing in the planning phase. Then during the entire execution phase, where the real activities at the site will be happening, the cost controller, the cost people, they will be monitoring how the cost is going on. What is the whether the cost has risen, what they planned, whether they are completing the project at within the cost or not. Then they will be making the revised plan. So that all sort of activities will be happening the entire monitoring phase. Once all the things are achieved as per the contract document, then project will be closed. So this is the brief about the project life cycle. So guys, any questions, just feel free to drop in the chat box. Now, we know that we have understood about the project, construction project and project life cycle. Now there will be people required. So these people are the civil engineers. So the civil engineers or engineers from other domains working in the construction industry. So this one project will be led by the project manager. He is the leader of that project. And once all the engineering design and drawings have been provided by the consultant or client, there will be majorly three departments. So one department is the project management office. So the civil engineers working in this PMO department, they will be sitting either at the project office or head offices. They will be doing this planning and monitoring of the entire project. So they will be preparing the cost budgets. They will be checking whether the project is happening as per that cost budget or not during the execution phase. That will be their major responsibility. So along with the cost controller under the PMO office, there will be one construction team who will be working at the site. Under this team, site engineer, billing engineer, they will be there. And one contracts team will be there. So that contracts team will be working for the procurement and quantity survey type of roles. But here in this webinar, we will be restricting ourselves to the cost controller role and the responsibilities which he will be performing. So now you have understood that if you are working in a construction company, ultimately you will be working in these type of roles. And if you are equipped with the cost management, you will be working in the project management office. And with the passage of time, once you will achieve and attain the construction project management knowledge, then you will be becoming a project manager. So project manager, they spend a lot of time during the entire project life cycle on the cost aspect, because this is the ultimate thing by which any organization is earning the money. So that is why they put a lot of emphasis on this cost part. So like I started my career, so mostly I was doing the role for the cost management. If I become a senior manager, even though at that point of time, my most of the time was getting spent on cost management. So this is the one of the most challenging and most interesting part for the civil engineer in a construction project. All right, guys. So now we have covered about the basics of the construction project. Now we will understand what is this cost management. So to complete a project, generally what do we say, that a construction project has three major parameters. So the role of construction manager, project manager, the business heads and the project control team, they work on three major aspects, that is cost, time and scope. So these three are the major parameters and called the backbone of any project. If any of this parameter is getting lagged, so there will be loss in the project. So that is why the process of planning and managing cost during the entire project life cycle is called the cost management. So basically the management of this planning and management of, the cost planning and management is the most important part of project life cycle. All right. Now we have understood the cost management. It is planning and management. But now if we will drill down how to do that. So first of all, we have to do planning. So planning can be done in two ways. One, we have to prepare the cost budget. And to do that, we have to do the cost estimation. So now, once we have done the planning, which is comprises of cost budget, and to do the cost budgeting, that is to be done by the cost estimation, we will be doing the cost management with the help of cost control and change management. So under the cost budget, we will be discussing about direct and indirect cost, what is a contingency cost, and what is a profit margin. So that we will be discussing henceforth in cost budgeting. Later on, we will be understanding to prepare a cost budget, what is this terminology BOQ and quantity takeoff, and what is this estimation technique which is called rate analysis, unit item rate analysis. So we'll be taking one example of this. And then later, once we have created a budget, then we have to manage that budget. So here we will be understanding the intro of earned value management, what is the claim, and what is the forecast technique and why it is required. We will be briefly going through the change management process. All right. So guys, any questions up to now, please feel free to drop in the chat box. So first of all, we have to understand how to prepare a cost budget. So we are talking a lot about cost budget, but what is the meaning of this cost budget? So I believe that all of you guys must be reading somewhere in the newspaper in the February month mostly that India prepares its budget. So you will be getting railway budget, government budget. So what is that budget? That we will be spending this much money in this financial year. So before the start of any financial year, entire government, either central or state government or any functional department like railway, they will be preparing the budget. So similarly, for any construction project, the internal organization or a construction company, let's say L&T company or Tata company, for each project, they will be providing and estimating and sanctioning one amount that we will be completing this project into this much amount. So that they have restricted that amount. Simultaneously, they have sanctioned that amount, that in this amount we will be completing the project and the project manager can spend that much money. All right. So that is called the cost budget. In the subsequent slide, we'll be understanding this with an example. But just to reiterate it, for any construction project, whatsoever the amount has been sanctioned and limited by the organization management committee is called the budget of that amount with respect to the contractor company. All right. So there are various methods, but one approach is the bottom-up estimate method. So by bottom-up estimate method, we will be creating the budget. This we will be discussing later on. So by calculating individual items, we have to prepare the budget. Now let's understand this with an example. All right. Now, how to develop a budget? So let's understand two terminologies. So mostly to prepare a budget, we will be working on two terminologies, which is called direct cost, indirect cost. Okay. Let's take one example that we have to construct one flyover, or we can take any example. Let's say we have to, a lot of water projects are coming. So one company has taken the project for sewage treatment plant. All right. So to construct this sewage treatment plant or this flyover, there will be a lot of components will be there. They have to do designing of this STP or a flyover. They have to do the sorry, as per the requirement, shuttering, rebar, brickwork, plaster work, other structural steel work, other E&M items work. So the cost that is directly related to the construction of that project in terms of material and labor and equipment, or in general sense, we can say that if it is billable to the client, the cost associated with the particular item is called the direct cost. So the example is like, if we are doing excavation, that is a direct cost activity. If we are doing brickwork, that is a direct cost activity. If we are doing concrete work, that is a direct cost activity. If we are doing shuttering work, that is a direct cost activity. If we are providing electrical and mechanical equipments to a sewage treatment plant or a water treatment plant, that is a direct cost activity. So all these items come under the direct cost activity. So it is the major section in which the maximum cost is involved. Second is indirect cost activity. So a lot of other expenditures that are required to complete the project, and those expenses, those cost items will be coming in the indirect cost activity. Let's say that for this flyover or sewage treatment plant, we will be requiring engineers. So the salary of the engineer is not billable to the client, is not actually visible at the site because it's not a column or a beam or slab, but this engineer will be required to complete the project. So that staff salary will be indirect cost. This staff, these engineers, they will be staying somewhere. So the accommodation, the transportation, that will be indirect cost. Let's say the company has taken the loan from the bank to execute this project. So on that loan, they will be giving the interest amount. So that interest amount will be indirect cost. Let's say as per the contractual document, they have to provide the bank guarantee. So for on this bank guarantee, some charges will be there. So that will be called indirect cost. Any stationary expense, if material has to be tested, like steel, cement, or any other material as per the contract document requirement, so that will be indirect cost. So now we have understood the difference between the direct cost and indirect cost. There is a third parameter that is called the contingency cost. Now, in each project, there are so many risks that can come at any point of time. Let's say that pandemic has come. There was an excessive rain which was not anticipated. Sometimes there is a shortage of the labor. The material which is critical for the completion gets delayed. So that is why the project will get delayed. There is a strike of the labor. Some other kind of events that may happen, those are called the risk. And to mitigate that risk, every company will be taking some contingency cost for their projects. All right. So this is called the contingency cost. Now, once we will be estimating direct cost, indirect cost, and contingency cost, then we will be adding this cost this will be the total cost, and whatsoever amount we are getting from the client may be the government client, so we will be so that difference will be called the profit. All right, so let's understand with this one example. Let's say this project sales value means if we will be completing this flyover or sewage treatment plant project, we will be getting 500 crore rupees from the government. Or if any real estate developer like Infosys, TCS or Mahindra is there, he asks any contractor company to build one software office in any of the metro city. So he will be giving rupees 500 crore for that project to the construction company. So that is the sales value, because that will be the sales value for the contractor company. Now for the sales 500 crore rupees, the contractor company like L&T, Tata, Shapurji, DLF or any company, they will be preparing a budget. So to prepare a budget, they will be calculating the direct cost, indirect cost, contingency cost, and taxes as per the Indian law. And ultimately, they will be arriving at the profit. So let's take this example. On the left-hand side, you can see cost summary. So in the direct cost, you can see foundation work, superstructure work, electrical work, firefighting work, this plumbing work, interior work, and other work. This work can be for any sewage treatment plant, for any building. So this will be the direct cost. All right. So this direct cost value they have estimated at 350 crore rupees. Then they estimated the indirect cost. So indirect cost like salary, temporary expenses, and other compliances. So that cost is coming 50 crore. So you can emphasize that with respect to 500 crore rupees, this indirect cost is 50 crore, which is 10%. All right. And there is a contingency cost. So now we do not know that what amount shall be taken for the contingency cost. So the companies, contractor companies, from the previous experience or on the based of risk analysis, they will be taking one amount, like 4% has been taken for this entire project. So that is the contingency cost, which is 20 crore rupees. Then as per the law, whatsoever they have to put, 30 crore is the taxes amount. So the total cost is coming 450 crore rupees and the profit is 50 crore. So the ultimately you can see that how big is this amount 500 crore and how big is this amount 50 crore. Let's say this project has to be completed within 1 year. So the company will be earning 50 crore rupees in 1 year from one single project. So that is why it is very much important to estimate the cost in a good manner and to monitor and manage the cost during the entire execution process so that company can earn 50 crore rupees. If there will be any, variation, then company will be, losing the money, and that is not a good sign for any construction project. So now we have understood about the cost budgeting. Cost budgeting is basically the amount that has been sanctioned and limited by the management of any contractor company, that in that amount, the contractor company will be completing that project. That is called the budget amount. And under that amount, direct cost, indirect cost has to be majorly calculated to arrive at the profit amount. So what happens once the, like suppose you will be working as a fresher or in a junior role in any construction company for this cost budgeting. So a cost manager will be there, or a project management project manager, project controller will be there. So under that you will be working, and then you will be working on these aspects. So one budget will be prepared that will be presented to the management during the start of the project, and then management will be having, if they will be having some questions, then that budget will be revised. Otherwise, management will be approving that budget, and that budget will be called the baseline budget. Now, we have understood the overall idea about the direct cost and indirect cost, but now how we have to arrive at this direct cost or indirect cost. So how to arrive at this amount? So this we will be covering in this cost estimation process. Before moving forward, let's understand one terminology, bill of quantity, BOQ. So BOQ is basically, if you are seeing on the right bottom part, it is a tabular form which is comprising everything. So in the name of items, you will be putting all the activities starting which is required for the completion of the project. So like excavation, backfilling, shuttering, then concreting, rebarring, structural steel, brickwork, plaster, everything we will be mentioning in name of item. Then quantity, then unit, like for earthwork, you will be putting cubic meter, for shuttering, you will be putting square meter, for brickwork, you will be again putting cubic meter, then for steel work, it will be kilogram or metric ton. Then our task, the cost engineer task, is to arrive at the rate to prepare the budget. All right, we have to arrive at the rate. So how we will be calculating the rate? So once we have calculated the rate, and quantity and rate will be multiplied, will be giving the amount. So total amount will be coming. All right. So now let's see how we will be calculating the rate. So there are a lot of methods, but major methods that is getting utilized in a construction company in any project is the unit rate analysis. All right. So in unit rate analysis, we will be calculating each item. All right. So if excavation is there, we will be doing the rate analysis of excavation. We will be doing the rate analysis of brickwork. We will be doing the rate analysis of steel work. Once we have calculated all the rates, then multiplying by the quantity, we will be getting the amount. Even for indirect items, we will be doing the rate analysis. Let's say that if an engineer is there, he is getting some sort of salary. So what is his salary for 1 year? What is the total cost the company will be spending on him on 1 year? So that entire thing will be calculated. So it is either direct cost or indirect cost. The complete rate analysis will be done. So for the direct cost, which is of majority portion, how we will be doing the rate analysis? So to do the rate analysis, there are simple formula that is called LMP. So L stands for labor, M stands for material, P stands for plant and machinery. So we will be dividing each activity into 3 parts, that is called labor, material, plant and machinery. We will be checking that for one particular unit, let's say for one particular 1 cubic meter, how much cost is coming for that activity for this LMP. So first of all, we should be aware of how to read the entire specification of that item. All right. So we'll be taking one example, and there are some other methods also like analogous estimating and parametric modeling, but the best method is the unit rate analysis. So let's take this example of brickwork. All right. Now let's say that there are 100 items that has to be done for a project, And there is one item which is called the brickwork. So there will be complete specification available that brickwork of this quality, let's say first class, second class, third class, with that has to be done at what height, and other specifications will be mentioned for that complete brickwork item. So from there, we will be understanding this is the complete specification. We will be dividing into three parts. So here, rather than 1 cubic meter, we have taken 100 cubic meter. So we will be doing the analysis for 100 cubic meter. And if we know that 100 cubic meter will be completed in this cost, we can easily understand that in 1 cubic meter will be of this rate. So first of all, we will be getting the material rate. So we know that what sort of materials will be required. We will be requiring cement that is required. We will be requiring bricks. We will be requiring sand to do the cement, and sand is required to do the mortar work. Then we will be requiring labor. So we have taken labor as mason and helper. Then we will be requiring some plant and machinery. So here in plant and machinery, we will be requiring scaffolding. So this is the equipment over which the labor or mason will be standing, and then they will be doing the work. So this is the work of cost engineer. He will be analyzing this thing. So now we have got these rates. These rates have been obtained from the market. All right. So let's say if we require the rate of the cement, we have taken the quotation from the Ultratech cement, JSW cement. If we require the bricks, we have taken the quotation from the local area. If we require the labor, as per the minimum wages act and as per the local labor available, we will be getting the labor rate. Now we have got all those things. So with the help of SORs, schedule of rates, or with the help of quantity and cost estimation, we know that for 100 cubic meter of brickwork, how much cement is required, how much sand is required, how much brick is required. So 1 cubic meter requires 500. So 100 cubic meter requires 50,000. So now we have got the quantity required for 100 cubic meter. We have got the rate of the material. By multiplying, we get to know that we will be expending this amount of money for 100 cubic meter of brickwork. Similarly, we know that with the help of productivity, that to do the 100 cubic meter of brickwork at this particular project location, we will be requiring 45 man days of mason and 45 man days of helper. And by multiplying with the rates, we get the amount. Similarly, it goes with the equipment, and ultimately we get the total cost by adding material, labor, and equipment. So we got the amount for the 100 cubic meter of brickwork, and by dividing it by 100, we get the rate of approximately 4,000 per cubic meter, including material, labor, and machinery. We can complete the brickwork. So this is the cost that the company is going to incur. If suppose the construction company like L&T Tata, they will be giving this work to a petty contractor or a thekedar or a subcontractor, then they will be adding 10 to 15% of the profit on this item, and then the petty contractor will be completing the work for the prime contractor. By which we will be calculating the rate of a particular item. And similarly, we will be calculating and estimating the rates for each item that is required to complete the project. And by adding all the items, we will be getting the ultimate amount, which is called the budget of that project. So here we have completed the planning part. So let's say for this 1 year project, this planning will be completed in first 1 month. Sorry. So first month we have completed the planning part, and the rest, all the time, the execution will be happening. So during this entire execution period, the cost engineer, they will be on periodic basis, maybe daily, weekly, or monthly, or quarterly. They will be analyzing how the project cost is going on. For this 450 crore rupees of cost, they will be completing in 10 months. First month is for planning and last month is for closure. So approximately on a linear path, for sake of discussion, 45 crore rupees per month, just for the sake of discussion. Generally, it doesn't happen. So 45 crore amount they will be spending per month. So then they will be analyzing whether that 45 crore rupees per month with respect to the scope they have planned is 45 crore rupees, it is lesser or it is higher. So how to do that? So this is the part for the cost control. All right. So here that we have to identify the variation with respect to the plan, whether we are spending the money with respect to plan or not. If we are spending the money, let's say that we have envisaged that we'll be doing 1000 cubic meter of concrete work and 1000 of cubic meter of brick work each month. So let's say that we are actually doing the same quantity for the sake of discussion, 1000 cubic meter of concrete and 1000 cubic meter of brickwork. And we estimated that we will be spending 45 crore rupees of work. So whether we are spending 45 crore rupees, lesser or higher, how this cost will be changing? This cost will be changing because the material rate can get changed, labor rate can get changed, steel rate is changing on day-to-day basis, cement rate is changing on day-to-day basis. Sometimes there is a delay in the completion, so therefore more labor is required to complete that activity. So a lot of constraints will be there. Therefore it is very much uh, highly important is like that they have to monitor the cost. So they will be analyzing how the cost is moving with respect to the baseline. And if any inappropriate changes are there, that will be discussed with the project manager, then regional managers or at the head office for the proper action to be taken. So how to do that? So first of all, to analyze it, we will be having the cost baseline, that is the cost budget that has been approved initially. Then we will be having, the reports, how we are performing, how much cost we have incurred, that is on the basis of performance reports. Then we will be analyzing with the help of tools and change control system how our cost is moving, and ultimately we will be getting the idea. If on the left hand side there are 10 months, each month I have to spend 45 crore, and through this system I have spent maybe in first month 40 crore, next month I have spent 50 crore, then what is the variation amount? The variation amount in first month is minus 5 crore, I have spent less, and in the next month I have spent 5 crore rupees more. So that we have to emphasize why this change is coming, what are the reasons of this change, that we have to identify. All right. So this is the method of cost control. Now there are few techniques. One technique is earned value management. So this earned value management, it is beyond the scope of this webinar. Just to give an introduction, that this is the latest technique which the companies are following. So this earned value management is the technique by which we can estimate whether our project is moving as per the plan or not. Second is the value engineering. All right. If suppose we have identified some methodology by which we can expedite the progress, or we have changed any construction methodology to execute the work, and we get to know that by doing this technique or value engineering, we can save some cost, so we can control the cost of the project. Third thing is the claims. So many times what happens that we are spending the money, but the things are happening which are beyond our control, like pandemic hit the country or the world. So construction work, even all the work activity has been stopped, but companies were spending the money on their employees salary and other parts of the project. If they have hired some machinery, they have to give the amount to those suppliers, equipment suppliers. So the contractor company will be putting a prolongation claim to the client. So these are few techniques by which the contractor companies will be working and trying to control the cost part of their project. So this all will be taken care by the cost control manager, and the civil engineers working under him will be supporting on these aspects. So this is the last part. So this is change control system. So suppose we have prepared the cost budget, and when we have prepared the cost budget, that has been approved by the management. So to have any change in that initial budget, or if we require additional amount, suppose our project is not getting completed within the time, so there will be a change control process. So that is why the company restricts every person that they cannot spend beyond this amount. So there will be a mechanism by which one, the cost engineer, he will be evaluating, yeah, this is the reason, that is why this cost has increased, and he will be raising a request. That request will be approved and incorporated in the project cost system. So this has to be done by the cost control engineer, because ultimately the organization will be asking the cost engineer to evaluate whether this cost whatsoever the changes are coming, so that is appropriate or not. I'll give you one example that we have taken brickwork. So let's say we have to do 10,000 cubic meter of brickwork. So the order was given to 100 suppliers. Now we cannot get all the bricks in the second month of the project. So the order will be given one by one. So initially we were getting the bricks in 5 rupees for the first 5 months of the project. But in the next 3 months, the rain started and unprecedented rain was there. So therefore, the rate of the brick rises very sharply, and now it is coming in 7 rupees, which is 40% increase. So now this 40% increase, but brick is required to actually complete the project. So that is why the cost engineer will be evaluating. This is the reason. That is why this cost has risen. How to mitigate that cost? If it cannot be mitigated by value engineering, additional cost will be required to complete the project. So that is the role of cost controller during the entire execution and monitoring phase. So in this entire webinar, we have covered what is the construction project, what are the different phases of a construction project life cycle, what is a project team that is led by the project manager, and what is the role of a cost controller under the PMO, which is project management office. How important is the role of cost engineer? It's not like that he is sitting in office, but he's working on a very important task for the completion of that project. We learned about the cost budgeting. What is cost budget? That amount has been sanctioned and limited by the organization to complete the project. The direct cost, which is billable to the client. Indirect cost, which is required to complete the project. contingency cost with respect to the risks, and we will be getting the project margin by deducting all the cost from the sales value. Now, how to develop a budget? It is to be done by the cost unit rate estimation process. That can be done with the help of LMP method, sorry, which is the labor, material, plant and machinery method. Now, once the cost budget has been finalized and approved by the management, during the execution phase and monitoring, the cost controller, they will be evaluating whether the approved baseline budget is intact or not. If any variation is coming, whether it is positive or negative, if any kind of variation is beyond the limit. So if a change is required, that change will be done by the appropriate change management system. So that is all, guys, about the cost budgeting and management. So any questions, you can just share in the chat box. I'll be happy to answer. Hope this session was insightful to you.